Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Okay, there we are. It should start any time now. There we go. Are you all seeing that?
Yeah.
Lovely. There we go. Thank you. Okay.
I'm present.
Thank you, Councillor Latham. Councillor Rob Jones.
Yes, sure, Tammy.
Thank you. Councillor Rachel Taylor. Councillor Taylor, you might be on mute.
No, she's dropped off.
She's still in the meeting, according to the screen. Okay, we'll come back to her. We've had apologies then from Councillor Bamsey. Councillor Sheila Penry.
Yes, present, Tammy.
Thank you. Councillor Stephen Smith from Bridgend Council.
Yes, I'm here, but I might have to leave at 3 o'clock because we got full council meeting at 3 in Bridgend, so...
Okay, thank you. We've had apologies from Councillor Aniel Puchella from Bridgend. So on to officers. Craig Griffith.
Present, Tammy.
Thank you. Howell Jenkins.
Present.
Thank you. Clive Phillips.
Present.
Thank you. Karina Langdon.
Present.
Thank you. Nadine Jones.
Present.
Thank you. And myself, Tammy Davis from Dem Services.
I
Can I
Rachel's
just check?
back in now.
Sorry?
I think Rachel is back in.
Great. Councillor Rachel Taylor. Councillor Taylor, you present? Still no reply. Is there anybody I've missed off that list?
Hi, Tammy. Richard Jenkins. I'm sitting in for Simon.
Oh, thank you, Richard. Thank you very much. There we are. Craig, the roll call's complete.
Thank you, Tammy. Then, so the first order of business today will be to appoint a chair and vice chair of our Margam Crematorium Committee. Could I have a proposal and a seconder, please?
I nominate Councillor Ted Latham as the chair and Councillor Stephen Smith as the vice chair, Mr. Griffiths.
Thank you very much. And if I can have a seconder, please?
I second.
Are there anyone against that recommendation? Then I proceed that it's passed, and I will pass over the chair to Councillor Ted Latham.
Mr. Griffiths, thank you very much. Can I thank colleagues for the reappointment? I'm sure I speak on behalf of Stephen as well. Much obliged to you. Thank you. So we'll crack on with the agenda. The next item, which is item 4, minutes of the previous meeting, which was held on the 21st of July. They're there on pages 3 to 4. I don't propose to go through them unless anybody has any comments to make. Don't see any indications. Okay. Item 5, annual budget for the year 2021. These are on pages 5 to 18. Mr. Jenkins, you're going to go through it?
Yes, thank you, Chair. As members are aware, this is the annual budget setting meeting for the joint crematorium budget for 21-22. I'll start off by just mentioning in terms of the revised budget, there has been increased number of services, which is predicted to increase the surplus by 264,000 compared to the original budget. There are some, as a result of those changes and as a consequence of COVID, there has been some additional expenditure and income being generated for the current year. And those variations are shown for expenditure on pages 5, 6, and onto page 7. You'll see that the capital works with the finalisation of the extension, etc., has been built into the table there on the top of page 7. And as a consequences of all of those variations, the projected change in general reserves is that a contribution of £133,000 will be added to the general reserve at year end, closing with just short of 600,000 by the end of March 2021. That is the projected figure, Chair, as opposed, and will be updated as once we've finalised the accounts for the year. Similarly, around income has increased. In terms of cremation fees, it's now based on 1,590 paid cremations, because as members are aware, child cremations are free, and so we've predicted that that's an increase against the 1,450 that was originally projected when the original budget was established. You'll note there that to the end of November, over 1,064 services were provided this year compared to 946 for previous years. There are some other smaller variances on the income side as well. The good news around the Cameo is that whilst we budgeted for £3,000, the share of the abatement refund coming back to the council has come in at 5,300, so that's been updated in the accounts as well. So that's the position in respect of the current year, Chair. Moving on to next year, we've based the number of services based on 1,500 services. We're predicting expenditure of 752,520 and income of 999,580, with a precept on the constituent authorities of £1,000 between the two. The report also allows for a refund of £100,000 to both between the two authorities in year as well, Chair. The various allowances for inflation and other volume changes are then reflected in the accounts. Page 9 also allocates a further £100,000 for capital investment in improvements at the crematorium, and the income based on 1,490 paid is included as well. And all of that means that the predicted reserves will increase for general reserves by March 22 to 643,000, and for the cremator reserve up to 700,000. There are various recommendations then that members will look at in due course, Chair, and the various Appendix 1 shows the actual budgets being proposed for this year, and Appendix 2, you'll note there that there are no proposed increase in fees and charges for next year, and they are confirmed and set out in Appendix 2 to the report on pages 15 through to 17. If there are any questions, then we will aim to answer them, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Howell. Anybody got any questions on what Howell has just presented? No? No, I don't see any. Howell, can I just throw one quick one at you, or perhaps I don't know whether Clive can answer it. As far as the Cameo refund, now I would have thought that would have declined, because the more and more crematoria that have abatement, then that levy goes down, and yet it's gone up by £2,000.
If I can partly answer, Chair. In 2019-20, we received 5,800. You were right, we were assuming it to drop to £3,000 as a result of perhaps more crematoriums introducing abatement equipment into their facilities. But we've actually had the 5,300 for the current year, so we have taken that into account, but we have reduced the budget for next year so that it drops back down to the 3,000. Ultimately, I expect this to probably go down to close to zero, but at the moment that isn't reflected in the actual rebates we're having, so I'm just budgeting it on that basis.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you. I don't see any indications. Right, so item 5 on the papers on page 10 is for the recommendations. Do I need to go through them individually, or we take each bullet point?
I'm happy
block?
for you to move them on mass, Chair.
Okay, so the recommendation there is on page 10. All happy to agree with those?
Move, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, right, they are approved then. Thank you very much. Mr. Jenkins, can I thank you for presenting the report, but I want to give bigger thanks to Karina, who's obviously prepared the report. You take all the glory, as you always do, but behind the scenes there's somebody working harder. So thank you both for a very comprehensive and encouraging annual budget report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Okay, item 6, participation in the ICCM scheme, which is on page 19. Clive, you're going to take us through this?
Yeah, sure. Members will recall that the crematorium commenced participation in this scheme, I don't know, approximately 5 years ago. Metals are collected from the ashes following a cremation, and when I say metals, I mean the nails, the screws from the coffins, and also the body parts, the hip replacements, etc. For after a cremation, they are then recycled, as I say, together with the leg joints and even pacemakers. And whilst we don't put a pacemaker through the cremation, there are one or two funeral directors that let us, that deliver pacemakers to us, and we include those in our in the collection for the ICCM. The proceeds are then distributed to bereavement-based charities in the name of the crematorium. In the past, we've had 2 payments to the local office of crews. The last 3 payments have gone to Teolwyn, the cancer research, cancer care attached to Morrison Hospital. And what members need to decide now, please, is the nomination for the next distribution of funds. The stipulation is that it's got to be bereavement-based charity. So that's about it, Chair. As I say, there are lots of local charities. There's local branches of most charities. Cancer research is very popular. British Heart Foundation, Age Concern. Maggie's in Swansea is another particular favourite. There's another one then, the Old Mill Holistic Therapy for Cancer Sufferers. That's based in Penclouth with a local branch in Talbot. So really, it is up to it's up to members to nominate a charity for the next distribution.
Okay, thanks, Clive. Any ideas from anybody or any suggestions?
Chair, I haven't heard anything. You mentioned then Clive, Penclouth and places like that. Have we got anything in specifically Neath or Talbot?
Well, yeah, there is a branch in Port Talbot. I can't remember the address for that. That was just one that I've thrown in, as an example. It was started about 10 years ago. No, sorry, longer than that. And different branches have been opened in the area. That's about all I know about that particular one. The other charities, of course, you've got there are, most of them are national with local branches. But as I say, it's up to members what they feel we should contribute to.
I know we've sent donations over to Teolwyn for obvious reasons. Is there something similar? I mean, I'm conscious of the fact that it is a joint committee, and is there an equivalent of Teolwyn in possibly the Bridgend area?
Well, I think there is one attached to Princess of Wales, but I'm not sure of the name of it. I'm sorry.
Do you know, Steve, that this is to do with well, it's cancer cancer based? It is, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think the only centre that I know of is a Sandville Centre up in Kinfig. But
yeah, that's alternative therapies, that one though, Steve, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but bereavement wise, I'm not 100% sure on.
Okay. I'm open to suggestions.
Chair, we come to this, you know, when we decide on these things, we come to this point every year and we tend to say, well, the ones that we've given in the past, we continue to give. Can I suggest that we stick to the status quo, but when this item comes up again, we task the superintendent to actually target local charities to give us more of a local focus based.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then when we come to make that decision, we concentrate more on the Neath Talbot area as opposed to going for the national charities on a local level. We go to local charities because the monies that we're giving out are a lifeline, if you excuse the pun, to local charities who don't accrue the monies that national charities get.
I'll prepare a paper, Chair, on that for the next meeting, and then you know, members can decide that.
Okay. So as far as this, sorry.
No, all I was going to ask is just to clarify. So for the next nomination, do we stay with Tolwyn?
I think that's the suggestion coming forward.
Right, that's fine.
Any alternative? So the recommendation, which is on page 20, is for approval for participating in the scheme. So the caveat to that is that we donate the next donation, shall we say, to Tolwyn, but Clive comes up with a report at a future meeting to give us alternative local based charities.
Yeah, that's what I'm proposing, Chair.
Okay.
Yeah, fine.
Thank you. All happy with that then? Yeah, okay. Here we go then. So that has been approved. Item 7 is urgent items. I haven't been informed of any. Craig, we haven't got any urgent items, have we?
No urgent items at all, Chair.
Clive, could I wanted to end the meeting by obviously expressing everybody's thanks to the work that you and your team are doing down there and under these horrible circumstances. Could you just give a brief overview as to how you're doing down there, just to give members a flavour?
Well, thank you, Chair. If I said it's busy, that's an understatement. We've got already, well, last calendar year, we were 6 cremations short of 1,700. And that has never been achieved in the 51 years that the Crem has been in existence. January alone, we've already got 218 booked in. It'll probably stay about 218, 220. That's just for January, whereas last January was barely 150. So on these figures, and with February, there's already 37 booked in for February at the moment. On these figures, yeah, we're going to do well in this financial year as well. It's, as far as COVID cases, I would say, and this is a very, very rough estimate, it's about 50% that we're aware of that are actually coming through the Crem at the moment. We haven't got formal figures for that. Those figures would have to be obtained from, if necessary, from the registrars. Staff are coping well, morale is good, and you know, everything, well, we're just going from day to day, week to week, but it's, yeah, it is busy, but it's, you know, everybody's in good spirits here.
Thanks, Clive. Before I fetch Robin, obviously you're working down there under under conditions that you've never worked under before. Are the bereaved accepting the circumstances, Clive? I know you've got to limit the numbers and there are things in place where you don't have no hymn singing, for example, and you're very, very restricted in what you can do. I mean, it's not the service as you would know it under normal circumstances, is it?
No, it's not. And that's what...
Froze me.
He looks better like that.
You're gonna be.
We seem to have lost Clive.
Oh, are you back, Clive?
Am I back? Yeah.
Right, okay.
People have accepted there are restrictions, even though funeral directors pass the information on. We're very often asked by families over the telephone, well, what are the restrictions? But generally, people do accept. There are occasions when people will just try and slip into a service. So I've got two members of staff in chapel most of the time, and they will, there'll be one taking the funeral in, and there'll be one literally counting people in. It sounds harsh, but it's just got to be. It's just the way it is. People do line the drive. We've got a number of signs up, as if anybody who have been up the Crem lately will have noticed, asking people not to gather in places. That seems a magnet sometimes for people to gather, but generally it's people are social distancing in the grounds and mostly on the main drive.
Okay, thanks. Rob, you want to come in?
Yeah, please. Clive, how are we coping capacity-wise with funerals, with the levels of the numbers that you were talking about? Because obviously this is way above our 1450 target for annual cremations, and I know that the income comes in handy. But how are you and the staff coping with the extra capacity? That's my first question. And the second question leading to that would be, how is this going to affect the life of the cremators with the increased capacity in relation to the cremator fund and the timing of when those would have to be replaced? And then I've got a final question, which is separate. So if you could address those two.
As far as the cremators are concerned, that is something that obviously we're aware of. We've got a good team of operators who are looking after the cremators, nurturing the cremators, taking care of them. They are being serviced regularly, and the engineer calls every couple of weeks just to give them a once over to make sure everything is okay. As far as the lifespan of the cremator, I can't really answer that at the moment, but I wouldn't have thought it would affect them that much. It's, as I say, they're being looked after. As far as staff are concerned, yeah, everything is going well. The morale is well. As far as the numbers, we've had to put extra times in at the end of the day, and the option is now to have a funeral sort of at 3:30 and 4 o'clock. Saturdays, we get the odd Saturday, but not many on Saturday. So capacity-wise, there are still times available each week. But generally we're sort of between 40 and 50 funerals a week.
Thanks for that.
Did you have one more, Rob? It's not personal. It's not based about his beard or anything, is it?
No.
Okay.
No. It's all Crem related. How dare you think that I will ask a personal question of Mr. Phillips? With the new construction now, which is obviously completed and operational, I wanted to know, is there any truth in the rumour that you're now spending more time there because you like it as opposed to your house?
Well, yeah, I am spending rather a lot of time in work, as Craig is nodding there. I'm here to do the job, so I'll spend whatever time I need to.
Okay, good. For the record, and Clive, will you just give everybody our thanks down there? I'm not down there, obviously, as often as I'd like to be through circumstances, but if you could just pass on everybody's thanks and gratitude to each and every one of your members of staff, don't I, please?
Yes, we'll do.
Okay, thank you very much. So there are no other items then. That concludes this meeting. Now, I think, Tammy, the next one, we got to go through the whole procedure again, have we?
Yes, I think that's right, Chair. Yeah, we'll have the council AGM in March this year, which is a bit earlier than usual. And we'll have the first meeting then of Margam Crem in the 2021-22 year after that. And again, the process will be the same as you said.
Okay. So myself and Councillor Smith have been chair and vice chair for one meeting then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay. Thank you all for attending, guys. Keep safe and take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Right.
Thank you, Chair. I know.
Thanks all. Bye bye.